So if you're watching this video, what I'm about to do might be all too familiar. You've hit a couple of good shots just off the edge of the green, and then this happens. Or maybe even more destructive, this happens. Now today's Friday fix, powered by PlayerFuel, is something that is going to absolutely transform your chipping. So let's first of all talk about what's happening on those two horror shots. So most golfers, I think, generally set up pretty well to play chip shots. So they'll get the ball fairly central in the stance, and then they'll lean forward. But what they tend to do is they tend to get maybe a little bit too much shaft lean. Now the problem for that is when there's too much shaft lean, we actually take away the bounce of the golf club and we'll use the leading edge too much. Now, if you're really good with strike, you'll get away with that. But if this part of the club touches the ground first like that, it'll dig and the ball go nowhere, like that beautiful first shot. Or you then worry about hitting the ground, come back too high and hit the ball with air, and that's that horrible thin. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep the ball in the middle, we're going to lean forward, but we're only going to allow the club to go forward very, very slightly. And the key that we now need is when we swing the club, I don't want to see you increase that shaft lean. So what you'll find is that trail wrist with a lot of golfers starts quite good, but as they come into the ball, they get the hand really leaning forward. Now, very like we'd hope on a full shot, but we don't want it on this. So what we want to feel is if you got a ball, an underarm, just tossed it down, you can feel how that wrist kind of releases. And that's a great feeling because as that club releases, the back edge of the club is going to touch the ground and it'll stop the club digging into the ground. Right, so now we've got that concept of how we would throw the ball underarm, we need to take that into the club. So to begin with, we're going to put just the right hand on, take the lead hand out of the way, and again, just get a feel like you're tossing the golf ball. And it'll definitely feel like the club head's overtaking the hands, but you can see when I'm touching the floor, I'm not really taking much of a divot, I'm just bruising the turf. Now, if you really want to, and it's not always the easiest feeling, you could actually just hit a little shot like that. And even though the strike wasn't perfect there, it's only 10 foot past and it's given me a great feel as to how I want to use the club. So then the key is get both hands on, try and get that feeling again. And can again see how I'm not really taking too much grass. I'm going to set up to the ball, let that wrist feel like it releases. And a much better strike down next to the hole. And if you are somebody who struggles with chipping, just that lovely feeling of that crisp strike will be so different for you. And the more you can get into that feel, it's almost like you can't hit a bad shot. I'm not promising you'll never hit a bad shot, but fats and thins can be absolute killers. And like I said, when you can strike the ball crisply like that, hopefully they're going to go in. But if not in, you're going to be getting much closer to the hole every time. And just like I said, it's going to absolutely transform your game. Now I'm going to hit one more from here because this is a pretty straightforward shot. And then we're going to work round the green, show you some different clubs and show just how good this technique is with every single chip shot. So I've got a couple of golf balls just down here that we're going to play. But remember, the key thing is once you get there, we have to have that feeling like we're tossing the golf ball and that wrist joint, letting it release that club underneath. We don't want to see lots of shaft lean, and we definitely don't want to see you try to lift the golf ball in the air. But a couple of indifferent lies. Let's hit these nice and close. So we can see there, lovely strike. Go in. Oh, Comment below on how that one's missed. Right, so that first one, there was a little bit of sand around. This one's just sitting down a little bit more in the grass. But again, exactly the set technique. And let's get a good strike on the golf ball. Again, very nice. And just no work left with a little tapping. Now look at the state of that. Now I know what you'd be thinking. If you're like me, you'd be having a good grumble to yourself if you've got a lie like this. But the good news is you've now got the chipping technique to hit a good little shot. So again, get the feel of that wrist working correctly. Came out a little quicker than I thought. But out of that lie, I'd absolutely take giving myself a chance for a one putt. Right, so those first few shots I've been playing with my 50-60 degree sand wedge. Now, there is a time and a place where using other clubs can benefit, and this is the perfect example where I've got a lot of green to play with, where if I can get the ball just on the green earlier and rolling more like a putt, potentially I'm going to get that a little bit closer. So I'm going to go from my 50-60 degree to my 8-iron. Exactly the same technique, but I'm going to try and get the ball just on the green and let it roll round more like a putt. So I'm still getting that same feeling with the wrist. Pop it onto the green and let it roll round. And that's not too bad, to be fair. I'd like to be closer. So let's just see if I can prove myself wrong now. Comment below, what do you think? So I'm going to go with my 56. Obviously need to land it a little bit further up the green. Again, get that feel for that technique, and then off we go. And we can see there, I kind of pitched that pretty much where I wanted, but because the bounce was a little bit softer and I couldn't really predict that, that one's actually finished a lot further away. So even though the technique was really good, then it was important that I picked the right club to give me a more consistent result. Right, so we can see the golf balls I've left out there from those shots, and I've got 3 really simple tap-ins, one kind of 6-footer, one that ran a little bit further past the flag with the poor lie, and we've got this one here that was that last sand wedge that for me then was more wrong club rather than wrong shot. But we can see with that improved technique, once you're striking those chip shots well, how you start getting a lot of short opportunities with your putts. Now, if you're somebody who's been fatting it and thinning it, you'd probably take anywhere on the green for now. I don't want you to be setting your standards that low. Once you're striking it well, you're going to hit some really impressive chip shots, maybe even chip in. Still feel I was robbed with that one before, but work on that technique. Use the bounce of the club. We're trying to use that back edge of the club on the ground rather than that leading edge. And if you can do that, even with a poor strike, you're still going to get a very, very good result. Right, so as ever, today's Friday Fix powered by PlayerFuel, golf CBD products to help you play better. If you've enjoyed today's video, like it and share it, comment below and I'll get back to as many people as I can. There's a video just there that hopefully you're going to enjoy, help you play better golf. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here soon. Stay in contact.